the Canadian would arrive and we would board a few minutes later, where we would begin to trundle out of downtown Winnipeg just before the sun would start to crest over the frigid prairies ahead, and we would crawl into bed for a much needed rest. Now, after the late night at the station last night, we would wake up and see the prairies of Manitoba turn into the bare forest of the Canadian Shield, marking the start of Northern Ontario. And from up here in the Dome car, the next 2 days are going to pretty much look exactly like this until we're just outside of Toronto, the land of 10,000 lakes, surrounded with seemingly never-ending forests, where the rocky terrain of the Canadian Shield tightly grips the snow around it, since this trip was still in the heart of winter. Just like here in Reddit, Ontario, just east of the Manitoba border, seemingly off on a siding in the middle of nowhere. But for these rural communities, this is how they get in and out of town. But for the 190 of the 200 scheduled stops on board, this train is a lifeline for those communities. And to not be servicing communities with the biggest populations like Thunder Bay, or Canada's fourth largest city in Calgary, with over 1.5 million people and a direct line to the Rockies in Banff and Lake Louise, and would also drastically cut down the travel time from Winnipeg to Toronto simply by going south. And my goal for pointing this out isn't to be negative, but to grow awareness for what could be great in Canada, with a little bit of political willpower and a sprinkle of common sense at the top level. But the fact that Canada still has passenger service today, long distance service heading west, is kind of a miracle at this point, especially after Via Rail ran a $500 million deficit last year. But let me know in the comment section what you think and how they could make service more attractive for everybody in Canada, not just east of Toronto. Now, by late afternoon, we were approaching our next major refuel and fresh air stop, crossing this bridge over Pelican Lake and into the town of Sioux Lookout, home of the Sioux Bombers junior hockey team, with a population of around 5,000 people and named in honor of its high vantage point that enabled the Sioux tribe to spot enemy tribes in the distance many moons ago. Not exactly a booming metropolis by any means, but hey, it's a stop, and after a quick engineer change, we would make our way out of town, continuing east for Toronto. And as the sun would begin to set about an hour later, drawing an end to day 4 of this trip. So this morning we would wake up just outside of Cape Breton, Ontario, which means we are roughly 6 hours behind schedule. But if this was an on-time train, this stop would be in the middle of the night. And like I mentioned earlier, life is all about perspective. And our goal for this trip was to enjoy as much of the experience as possible. So I think this is a positive because it's only letting us see a part of the trip that would otherwise be in complete darkness.
All right, Dick, come on down.
Thank you.
All right.
Wow, what a beautiful day. The stop in Cape Breton is only 15 minutes, but Cape Breton Station is adjacent to the Northern Ontario Railway Museum, which houses the legendary CN 6077 steam locomotive. She was involved in a major crash in Brantford, Ontario in 1945, losing control around a turn. Now, all passengers were safe, but the entire engineer crew would pass, and following the wreck, she would go into repairs and be put back into service until 1960, where she was set to be scrapped in Winnipeg in 1967, but at the last minute, the locomotive was donated to the town of Cape Breton, where she would run some luxury excursions before being put on permanent display in the Northern Ontario Railway Museum, where she has rested ever since. And as we reboard the train, we would head down the track past the station for one last chance to appreciate that relic from the golden era of rail travel in Canada, back when steam reigned supreme. Now, in case you haven't noticed, the Northern Ontario commute really doesn't have a whole lot to offer outside of being a transportation vessel from Winnipeg to Toronto. But for me, the train is the destination. And there is no greater place to do that than the park car. It's the final car on the consist, and today's version has the black stripe on the exterior to signal the recent renovations made. But today there's only 4 of these cars that have the updated black trim and the most recent renovations: Glacier Park, Prince Albert Park, Laurentide Park, and the one that we are riding in today, Kootenay Park, featuring a few prestige sleepers at the front, a full cafe with all your beverage needs, a bullet lounge at the back with these updated couches that are really nice, and to be honest, a great spot to catch a sunset or a sunrise from the back, looking down the track. And couple that with the all-you-can-eat coffee and tea bar only feet away, it truly is a rock star setup. But the real draw is up in the dome, with the best views from the back, putting the train truly into perspective as the consist twists and snakes through the landscapes of Northern Ontario. And on that note, what was supposed to be a dreary cloudy day today actually saw the sun shine down on the over 70-year-old stainless steel consist. And listen, I'm no photographer by any means, but these Northern Ontario forests will absolutely keep you honest because the best shots appear only for a few seconds before they're gone. So you gotta be quick. We'd arrive here at Toronto's Union Station 7 hours late, which means unless we're taking the BMW, and that stands for Bus Metro Walk, we're not making it to Montreal tonight. We would head into the Great Hall, which, even if you're stranded in Toronto for the night, it's still worth taking a moment to appreciate the grandeur of this 1929 station. Now, I'd head to the Via desk, and thankfully VRL was nice enough to put us up in a hotel for the night. And almost poetically, they're sending us across the street for one night in Toronto's railway hotel, the Royal York. And this is for a very short one night inside the city's castle, but still, not a bad way to miss your train. This was a clip for a full-length show. If you want to watch the full episode of the clip you just saw, click right here. You get the full show, and they go up live every single Sunday. If you want more clips of what you just saw, click right here. You can see the next great hit.